Damn. Yes, sir. Let's get to it. Mm. Yeah, that's still good. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Me like that a lot. See what we got going on. Breakthrough crew in the building. Let's go, baby. Let's put it up there. I need to start knowing where y'all at. So I'm gonna add that too. We got a big topic tonight. Topic that's near and dear to my heart, but I'm sure many of our hearts. You know, it's been a crazy new year. It's been a crazy 2024 so far. Crazy in not only bad ways, but very positive ways as well. We're all grateful to be here as always. Grateful that I had an opportunity to be able to continuously learn, add value to the market, and get that reciprocated back to us as well to meet our personal and career goals, I should say. But we're gonna get into it tonight. I got a lot on my mind. I know it's been a while. And I got like, damn, coach. Damn, big ump. What's been going on? It's been a minute since you've been streaming. I'm gonna explain all that as soon as I get in here. A minute is really it's a week. It's been a week. I missed a week. Okay. Sue me. Don't sue me though. All right. But just in case you want to. All right, let's start letting y'all get in here. Get in here, get in here. I know I said 8 tonight, but one, I got my one-on-one meeting with one of my students for our exit interview and our cloud boot camp. And then I'm trying to get to watching Avatar tonight with the wifey because she made some snapper, some red snapper, you know, and I love her snapper. So ha I love her snapper. But she makes some good snapper tonight. So I want to be done with all this by 8:30, I told her is the goal. So y'all know the rules, y'all know how we get down. Tell me what you're drinking, where you're located at, and then ask your Cloud Tech questions. But so I did took a break. I felt like I just since what we started this in December, November, December, doing these Cloud Tech at nights, and I was doing it consistently every night, every week, and it's draining. Excuse me. YouTube creating, YouTube content creating is draining. Don't let nobody tell you different. Content creating in general is draining. So I was drained. So last week I just took a break. I just took a mental break, especially with boot camp closing, ending, wrapping up all the interviews, wrapping up all the students' projects and everything, checking over everything. It was hectic. So I needed to take a break, which I did, and I will always take a break when I need to take a break. So, but we here, we back, and we live tonight. We cracking. You know what I'm saying? We got a little oak. We got some oak. I forgot what the first part of it is called. Oaken Park, Oakenwood. I don't know. But my wife bought me some for Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's Day, by the way? We had a very fun Valentine's Day. But she got me this peach and wood custom oak liquor, spirit brown bourbon, and it's actually really good. So I'm gonna have some tonight before I get to Snapper, before I get to Avatar. So, but I want to talk about a subject tonight that I need to inform you all with. Um, because we had a lot happen in the tech world. A lot's been happening, especially with AT&T going down today. I've seen some great posts about it. I've seen some great content about it. I've also seen some conspiracy theories thrown around. All right. Um, but I think we're gonna save that for next time we chat. And if you follow me on any of the platforms, I made a post on LinkedIn today, giving my thoughts about the importance of how AT&T going down. They basically showed the necessity for one, better cloud security training or cybersecurity training. um, they need to be bringing in more people, and but most importantly, speaks to the the great innovation in the end product of companies' products, especially tech companies' products, but the lack of innovation on the back end and the infrastructure. Because basically these cell towers basically were offline due to a bad actor, which is basically a virus attack. Um, basically shut off access to the servers. So even when your cell devices try to point to different servers, different satellites, different cellular towers, it would get denied access. And especially with a lot of the legislation involved that has to practice this type of isolation between different networks, um, which is a whole nother thing. But I don't want to take away from the overall theme of what we're talking about tonight. But anyway, all in all, it's lack of poor infrastructure, and these companies, specifically AT&T, not having hired enough technical talent to support their infrastructure. Having bad business continuity plans and in order, bad failure contingency plans, bad backup failover infrastructure set up. Like they didn't have databases and other servers that would easily kick in and reactivate access. It's just a whole thing. Anyway, um, I'm going to talk about tonight the layoffs. Layoffs is a big thing tonight, man. Let me see who we got on tonight. Who we got on? You already know the deal. Tell me what you're drinking. Tell me where you're located, and then ask your cloud tech questions. Man, I think we had a great show the other week with Micah, man. We're gonna set probably next week, we're gonna set aside, just really talk about it, kind of deep dive into what you all thought. I got a lot of great responses from Micah's interview, and got a lot of views as well. But man, he had an exciting journey, didn't he? Going from help desk to becoming a senior knock for a hotel chain, and then becoming a knock at a airlines company, and then combining the two to leverage um, the opportunities between the two, to leverage him being able to get free rooms and free travel against an offer that he received from Google, and then his offer, how he leveraged that with BMW, which afforded him the free i8 BMW. Um, so, like I tell you a lot of time, like this your tech career, you need to approach it like a business that it is. You're not just a professional. I know most people in tech, they engineers, and I talk about this all the time. You have hustlers and you have purists. Purists focus on trying to become highly technically savvy, and they try to have great technical skills and the latest technical skills. They go after all the certifications, and they're always publicizing projects X, Y, and Z. And then you got your movers and shakers, your hustlers who are leveraging the positions they're in to get into a better position, and then that to another position, and to get all the privileges and benefits and income that they're trying to acquire. So, Micah distributed that in the Q&A I had with him during our last Tech at Night, which I hope you all were able to pick up on, that you have to be a strategist with your tech career outside of just technical chops, you know. But damn, y'all like my hat? Hey, little nostalgia for y'all, little nostalgia. So, layoffs. So I wanted to make this video tonight because layoffs have been happening, and it seems to be, from in my opinion, layoffs are going to be a business as usual thing in this space. Um, when I first worked in corporate America at 21, I worked for a project telecom company. Um, and their job their well my job too, but their basically their role was to project manage cell phone towers across the southern region for companies like AT&T. Right, so that's again when AT&T went down, I already knew what it will alluded. I already knew it was an infrastructure problem. I already knew because I've done the background work early in my career helping to build the exact towers we all use on a daily basis. So I know how crappy those towers are, especially the areas that they're in are very remote and very random. But anyway, um, uh, yeah. So I was working with this company. So the interesting about it, we were a telecom company. Most people didn't understand we were, and even I feel like the people working for the company at the time didn't understand that we were a technology company who happened to do construction work. Our task included construction work, but we're a technology company. Problem was there was a lot of problems, and one day I'm gonna go on my whole tangent about my first real tech job, and which was that company. But anyway, um, as I said, so we hired a lot of contractors. We hired a lot of people to actually build the cell phone towers. Like we wouldn't go out and physically build it ourselves, but we would hire the people that would go out and physically build it, and our project managers will oversee each program. I would literally sometimes even myself deliver the materials to the contractors, the construction managers to be able to build, have supplies to build the cell phone towers. I say all that to say there was a lot of layoffs. We used to call them riffs. This is my first time hearing about a riff. Again, I was 21 years old. I didn't know what a riff was. I just knew it seemed like every quarter or every other quarter, especially at the beginning of the year, I was there for 4 years. There will always be these riffs that will go around the office. They'd be like, oh, here's a riff coming. There's a riff coming. And it was mostly, what up, Linda? What's going on? How you feeling? Most importantly, what you drinking? Anyway, these riffs will happen. And this is why I say, let me finish the story before I puke my thoughts. But so these riffs will come and they would lay off these contractors. Um, like we would probably hire maybe 200, 300 contractors across the whole South. And, a lot of them would get laid off, probably like 50 or so, 45 or so at a time, 47. And, but then then throughout the year, we would hire them back. Water. Boo. I wish I had a tomato emoji. Well, okay, water's cool. Okay, health is wealth, right? So we would lay them off all the time and then hire them back. So you'll see these contractors come in the building and they'll be gone for a while and then come back. And it was always a celebration every time they came back, but it was always gloom when it was time to lay them off. And that was my first time experiencing layoffs. And I never really understood it. Like I had a really good friend of mine at that time, older dude, who got laid off one time. Like he used to never get laid off because he was the best worker. But the company at the time was having financial strain problems, just poorly bad at spending money, to be honest with you. And he eventually got laid off. And, I had a conversation with him in a barbershop about it, whatever. He's like, oh yeah, they gave me a severance. But I was like, a severance? What's a severance? So he broke it because I thought he was gonna be sad. I'm like, man, how you gonna feed his family? Blah 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 blah. And he's like, I just get the severance and I go pick up another contracting job with another company, the same company that do the same work you all did. You all didn't get the contracts to build the towers, but another company got the contract, so I'm gonna go work for them. All right. I was like, wow, it works like that. Okay, wow. So you got a bag of money and you're gonna find another job within a couple weeks and you back up and even better than where you were in your just a month ago. So I say that introduced me to how layoffs work and kind of prone me to be prepared for uh layoffs or not having and being able and having to hustle. Hustle in terms of make your career a hustle. Don't dedicate any kind of loyalty to these companies, or these organizations. Yeah, you show up and show your best, you contribute your best. You always want to leave a great impression, um but you gotta hustle. You gotta not take the opportunities for granted. Squeeze the most out of it you can, get the most experience, network with people within an organization, learn as much as you can. and then use all those skills to stack your resume up to be able to impress other employers and be able to, when the boat starts sinking at your organization, move on to the next. So funny enough, I actually got laid off from that company as well. Now, this had been the first time that coordinators had been laid off. It's usually, again, it's like the construction workers, the construction crew, but and sometimes construction managers. But I got laid off. Okay, Tequila Cortez, what's happening? Uh, I had got laid off, and so um, I got fired. Actually, no, I didn't get laid off. I got fired. So I didn't get no severance and none of that stuff. But again, I was like 23 at the time, maybe 24. So anyway, we're gonna fast forward. So first, and this house, all this story is gonna make sense. So my first time getting laid off was in 2000. I want to say 2020, 22. No, no, no. It had to be like 22, 22 or 21, 21 or 22, one of those. But I had got laid off from my first six-figure cloud engineering company that I worked for. Well, the company was a tech company, and I was a cloud infrastructure engineer, and I had worked for them for a year, and we got bought out for a company. It's again, if you've paid attention to the call there with Damon, he says you could, if you're tuned in to enough of the company, you can kind of hear the rumblings of, okay, layoffs is coming. All right, layoffs is coming. Which I'm gonna start getting into the lessons in a second here, but I gotta tell this story. So when they had we got acquired by another company, and one of my senior engineers who had trained me up, basically, like, he did a tremendous job. He's a great hell of a senior engineer. He'd been doing this stuff since like the 80s, um or early 90s. But anyway, he said, "Hey, you might want to talk to, the manager about such and such. We got acquired. I don't know about this. It's kind of shaky to me. I've been around the way a while. I've been working at startups and blah 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 blah. And my company can almost consider a startup, considered a startup company, although they had been a while around for a full minute." Um, and he was like, "Yeah, what's happening 225? Okay, Sun Kiss. I love me a good old Sun Kiss. And the Sun Kiss Zero. Okay, okay, okay. PC Alabama. Okay, okay, okay. Shout out to my Bama folks. Sorry y'all lost this year, but I had, so anyway, they had laid me off, and they have this on this call. And if you ever been laid off before, they always have you on these big calls, right? And they say, okay, they close the chats. All right. So this when what's going down. They close the chat, just straight presentation. And we got on the Zoom call, and the woman got on, and I didn't really know I think she was like some secretary or administrative person or whatever. She got on and says that due to the economy and made up all these excuses, we're going to have to make some changes, and some people it's going to be this is going to be your last day today. I was like, today? This is my first six-figure job. I'm like, I'm doing well. I'm like the little lap of luxury. I'm like eating good. I'm like, yo, I'm about to get laid off. I'm like, yo. Um, so I was like, all right. Um, I was like, damn, okay. All right, hopefully it's not me. All right. That's what we all think. Like, hopefully it's not me, but it might be, but I'm like thinking like I'm not the worst engineer in this team. you know, which God don't even show up to work half the I ain't snitching on nobody, but that's what I was thinking. Like I did, I can't be one of the last one of the first ones getting laid off, whatever. But man, he's like, yeah, your manager's gonna reach out to you, da 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 da. And sure enough, my manager reached out to me. Boop, let's hop in a one-on-one. Woo, woo. So but prior to that, our coworkers and us, like, this is why it's important to network, all right, and be cool with your coworkers. Um, we all had exchange info just in case, we were gone. And we all said to each other goodbye, great working with you, whatever. And then my director pulled me in, and he had the HR person on the phone. Yeah, D'Amico's, you're great. He tearing up. And the reason I didn't find no empathy for him, or like I was kind of angry to be upset, and confused, because I felt like if you're a director and executive level, you kind of know these things. You kind of know these things are coming. Like you're close enough to the table where the money is to know how they're going to make decisions with the money. So it was like you didn't give us no kind of warning. So don't be buddy old pal me on the on that on the you about to lay me off call, tearing up because like it's like nah, bro. You could have gave me more ample warning. And again, it's always my fault because you got to be accountable. At the same time, I was new to the industry still, and I didn't know how these things work. But I didn't take it as bad as I thought I would. And one is thanks to therapy because I participated in therapy. And so I always had this fear of getting laid off because when you become successful and established in your career, you develop two things, especially if you come from impoverished backgrounds. One is you develop survivor's remorse. So you feel guilty that you're the one that made it and your friends and family didn't make it with you, at this point in your career. And then two, you start to develop um a fear of it all going away, losing it all, losing it all again. Especially again, if you come from an impoverished background, had a hard time finding jobs X, Y, and Z, and why, and this is your first big opportunity. So again, it's my first six-figure role, and so I was like, all right. So, they just let me go. He said, the HR person on the phone, and they say, okay, well, this is what's going to be included in your severance package. When she started telling me the numbers in that severance package and how much I'm gonna get, and then they're gonna still pay me time towards for the end of the month, I felt a lot better. I was like, oh, okay. And again, my hustler kicked in because I'm like, oh, I can make this shake. Because what they don't know is I'm gonna hop off this call. I might chill for a week or two, a week, a couple days, knowing me, but I'm chill for a couple weeks. And my resume stacked now because now I got an official tech company in my resume. I don't did X, Y, and Z down the board, built different environments, worked in IC environment, there were automation tools, X, Y, and Z. So I'm like, I'm tech savvy now. Like I can make something really shake. These ain't just help desk skills. And so, and when they told me they gave me a fat, and I said, "Am I have a fat check with it?" I said, "Man, I'm good." So they laid me off. It was cool. It happened. You know, and it was what it was. I didn't really feel as bad as I thought I was going to because I felt prior to that, prior to therapy, about a year before that, I felt really like my first cloud tech engineering role. I had a bad case of just a fear of losing it all. Bad case, like very dark, 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 dark thoughts about it. But when it actually happened due to the therapy and everything like that, I'm drawing from. I was like when it happened and I got laid off and they told me say I had to sign off on the NDA X, Y, and Z. I said, cool. I took it up extremely better than I thought I was. And I ended up, getting them honestly a job a month later. I actually had interviewed for some FANG companies. I was in my final round of interviews with AWS. I was in final rounds of interviewing with another company, big company, and these are bigger salaries than I was currently making at that time. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be all right. So, and I ended up being all right, of course. Now, the second time I got laid off, the second time I got laid off, it was the same scenario, but I handled it because at that point I just got used to when you go again come from that's the advantage of coming from a tough background is that you can endure the worst. You're like built to endure always the worst thing happening because you're kind of always looking for the worst thing to happen anyway because that's how you're programmed. But so you're like, at that point, I was so confident in my skills. I had my certs, I had some experience under my belt. I kind of knew how to navigate this tech industry, cloud tech industry, to get land the next role. I knew kind of where my bottom figure was going to be if I really, really needed a job. And I knew what I could pretty much pull off in my next role. And then so work for this one company for like probably a month and a half. And boom, they fired me. They laid me off. Um, the severance package wasn't as robust, you know what I'm saying? But I still had so much money stacked up because prior to me even get laid off from the first job that same year, I got laid off twice in the same year. I had just started practicing financial discipline. So I cut out all this the crazy spending and everything. I just used to it was used to be fun to me to just stack money up. Even if you follow some of my earlier videos, especially on Instagram, I used to just count money, just pull money out and count it sometimes just so I can feel it. Just so I can feel it's just a thing. First off, our folks, we keep cash in the mattress, you know what I'm saying? But but it's just I had to feel it so I could know I got to keep it because I had did this research that showed that people who don't touch money are more likely to spend money because they see the digits as just numbers and not real figures. And so I developed financial discipline. So when I got laid off the second time, it was cool because I'm like, I'm gonna just get another job again, and I still got more money in the bank. And boom, when I got laid off that second time, picked up a job probably 2 months later. I got the offer like a month later, but it took me 2 months to start the job. And it was even higher. That was actually my first cloud architect role. And so now I'm like, I'm an architect. So now I'm official. It's like every time I got laid off, it was another level up. And then my with the architect job, my technical skills just took off. Like my because I had to be in the technical weeds. I had to literally build I had to replicate a prod environment for a dev environment and from myself from scratch, but that's expected of a cloud architect. And so, but I was in Google environment, never worked in a Google environment. I was always AWS or Azure, as a cloud engineer, and did that. And I mean, and that was probably one of the best companies I worked at. Like, as far as people, the people culture, like my team was so freaking cool and solid that the other teams I work with, we still text to this day, we chat to this day. Like I'm one of the best managers I ever had. Shout out to Scott, man. Scott was that dude, man. So many funny times. Like I had the best time like with that company. And then I had to move on because I got, bigger opportunities. So I say all that to say, like, it's not the end of the world when you get laid off. It's gonna feel like that, especially if it's your first time. But after a while, you're gonna learn like it's not that bad. Which is kind of it's gonna lean, which is kind of leaning towards this industry, especially, you have to treat it like a contractor. You have to treat it. That's why I say you have to treat your uh, position, your career, like a business that it is. It's a business entity. All right. You're not just a person working for an employer, employed by somebody, and that's your job title is who you are. It's your identity. No, who you are. I'm D'Amico's Chambers. I'm a cloud architect, right, with cloud engineer skills, and you can attach and detach me into any organizations. You can plug me in anywhere. I can plug myself in anywhere. So therefore, I'm not committed to the loyalty program of any company because for any reason they can lay you off, right? And so hopefully that kind of made sense to you. I know it was a little bit. Yeah, I know I can be a little loquacious. I could talk a little bit, but hopefully, me sharing that story about being laid off kind of resonates with you that there's going to always be brighter days, but and though in lieu of those brighter days, there's also going to be some stormy seasons as well. Why? Because in order for things to grow and be beautiful, it has to rain, it has to storm. That's just the nature of life, the nature of seasons. But you have to prepare when it's sunny out and you got your good cozy job, you're making good money, you got your training up, under everything is pretty mild and temperate. Those are the times we need to be stocking away and preparing for when things storm, right? Because things will eventually storm in life, but you just have to be prepared for. When you prepare for it, you have a shelter, you have a boat, you have it. No matter how high the tides rise, you're going to stay afloat because you prepared when the tides were low. You know. So let me catch up with some of these comments. Let me catch up. Princess sipping a protein shake. Oh man. Okay, you gonna do me like that tonight. That's what type of time. Y'all see what type of time I'm on. Nap man. Nap man, you hear me? But that's what um that's what you have to do. These layoffs aren't as bad as the headlines make them seem. Oh, because the thing is, when people see headlines, especially newbies looking from the outside in, they think, oh, there's no cloud opportunities, there's no tech opportunities, no tech jobs. I posted a couple weeks ago. Um, I think it was last quarter, or last year. It was like 39,000 layoffs, tech layoffs, tech persons. But there was also like 329,000 people that got hired into tech last year at the same time, but the headlines never showed you the counter of what's actually happened, never allowed you to see both sides and then you be able to come to your own conclusive thoughts. It was the media saying, hey, you got to understand, the media mostly learned this during, the infamous 19, um, that fear sells. Fear causes people to tap into the links. Fear causes people to buy irrationally and erratically, and fear keeps people engaged, right? So that's what all these media links, excuse me, that's what all these media links do is push fear propaganda. But they don't tell you. That's why you have to dig and get into these tech communities and read multiple articles and really just get into the weeds of the tech business to understand the business, to be able to best navigate and create strategies around it, so you don't panic when everybody else panics. And Warren Buffett has that great quote where he says, "When everybody panics and sells, that's when I buy." Right? It's the most opportune time. So same thing with tech, especially cloud tech. Like you see layoffs, but there's opportunities. I literally just posted today. Microsoft just did layoffs just this month. Yeah, this month in February. And literally the Microsoft executives are hiring for tech roles today. Excuse me. Today and last week. Oh, I got hiccups coming. Today, last week. I've been hiring all month in the midst of layoffs. That's why you can't freak out and panic, because one, you never know what kind of roles are getting laid off. Just because it's a tech company, a fat fang company, doesn't mean that cloud engineers are getting laid off. They might have a spike where they need more cloud engineers, more cloud security engineers, more TAMs, more devs, more software engineers, more AI engineers, etc. Like you have to stay steady when everybody else panics, especially during times where things seem when there's a lot of turbulence going on. All right, cloud tools, monitoring tools. Okay, I am beginner advice. Okay, okay. I don't know where that came from, Cordis, but we appreciate that. Those are definitely tech terms. Let's see. Cloud TJ, keep gaining skills. There you go. Keep gaining skills, educate yourself. Make sure you have 7 months. There you go. That's the key. Always be ready for life. That's my father's. Man, great, man, that's great advice, TJ, man. Great advice. Seriously. That is exactly what it's about, in tech, in any field. The thing about it with these tech people, with most tech engineers, is that they aren't they're engineers, so they're a lot of them, especially newbies looking in, who've never they're already intimidated by the tech learnings. And then you have the engineers in the field. Most of them are just purists of tech, like of engineering abilities and skills. They don't think, they don't look at this stuff from the big picture of opportunity, career, business, the interpersonal skills that you have to have as a professional, how to navigate, move, practice, and patience. Like you, you gotta apply life skills to your, again, your career is a business. Treat your career like you would a business. Then you got to make sure the finances are taken care of, so you got to spend conservatively. All right, you got to make sure you got your savings up to par. All right, you got to stay skilled up and tooled up. You got to kind of stay on, keep your knees bended and ready to move if you need to move. Don't ever get stale and stable and just commit to all in on one customer, hoping, or all in on one employer, hoping that they're going to hire you. No, spread yourself out, like move around, create your opportunities, find your opportunities, be patient. Because everybody else is going to panic, and they're going to, and what do people do who are in worry and hurt and pain? They need company. All right. So they're going to always be in recruiting season, and they're going to recruit people like you who aren't prepared, who aren't staying ready, who aren't treating your career like a business. So that's why, like, especially with channels like mine, we try to teach and educate more than just the technical skills, because there's tons of channels out there and people out there that teach the technical skills courses. There's plenty out there, but there's not a lot of channels out there that's teaching what technical skills are worth obtaining, and most importantly, how to utilize those skills and tools for career navigation in this field. And that's one of the things I really try to pride myself on, and bring you more than just boring technical jargon and technical lectures. It's all about how do I apply all these tools and skills? How do I get in for my first time? How do I get up, for to a next role, etc. So, Jasmine, what's happening, Jazz? What's going on, Jazz? Long time no see. I'm sipping water. Oh, you on the clock? Okay, that's cool. You on the clock? Okay. When I was at this one my first cloud gig, they used to have us. They used to allow us to get. We had free beer because we next door to Google. We shared the same office space, and in the lobby they had these beer things that you could pull down, and they would be free from 2 to 6, and you can get all the free beer that you wanted. And so I used to drink beer during work. Sometimes I'd be a little faded in there answering dick. You know what I'm saying? But don't you do that though, Jasmine. You be responsible. All right. Right, boy. Brook business. No business is loyal to you. None of them. If laying you off is logical reason for business, they will lay you off and keep moving. Your career is your livelihood. Always make logical decisions. Absolutely, TJ. Absolutely. You're preaching, brother. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to understand it's all business. No matter how much they tell you they love you. Oh, and your team might be great. You might build great friendships and have great camaraderie with your team, but never take the position that you're in for granted. Never be loyal to the position that you are with the company, because it can change and will change at a dime of the interest of the business. All right. And again, most schools don't teach this, most trainings don't teach this. It's all technical, 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 but it's not how to apply these things to navigate in your career for successful objectives that you have. It's more to this tech stuff, this cloud tech stuff, than just getting certifications. It's more to it than just doing projects. Are you getting the right certifications? Are you doing the right projects? Are you applying them the right way to your resume? Are you applying to the right kind of companies? Are you doing your interviews the right kind of way? Do you understand the process of these interviews and how they usually go? Do you have a script developed? Like, this stuff is a strategy game, and it's not a lot. It's just it's there, but you just have to be able to reel it all in to make sense and be customizable for you. You can't do what everybody else is doing because you're not everybody else, right? Some of the key points I wanted to harp on is the emotional roller coaster of being laid off and how to manage it. So, like I said, if this is your first rodeo being laid off, or your friend or somebody is their first protocol. Like, I had a great friend of mine get laid off from a FANG company, for the second time. 2 times, right? He got hired on with the FANG company last year, laid him off last year, a couple months later, hired him again a couple months later, and laid him off again. And both times he got a fat severance package. That's a come up, That's a come up. He is cool about it, because he's learned to master to manage his emotions, to understand you're not loyal. This isn't 40 years ago, 30 years ago, you're gonna stick with a job forever. No, like, it's jobs are gonna come and go. That's just how it goes. But go see a therapist. Go spend time with a therapist. I did, he did, my bro did. Like, because you have to manage your emotions of it all. Manage loss, manage disappointment, manage fatigue. Like, you have to learn to manage it. Most importantly, your fear. We do that in my boot camp. But manage your fear, because that's going to drive you to overreact or react appropriately, when things happen in your career, such as a layoff. Um, Also, maximize the benefits of your severance package. Like, don't just do like I did the first time. First time when she was laying me, I was just ready to get off the phone by the time the HR person started talking. After she told me how much money I'm getting, everything else went mute. Like, but she was telling me, like, some important stuff you have to pay attention to. Like, your benefits can still be extended for a couple months. That's important. That saves you a lot of money in healthcare, especially if you have a family. And your stock investment, like, that stuff is important, like knowing if you're going to stay invested in a company, or they're going to cash you out, or give you the opportunity to continue to invest on your own at a discount. Those things are important. Maxify. And then on top of that, they tell you how to apply for unemployment, so you're still going to, like, the money that you get out of being laid off, the opportunities for a lot of folks, especially if you're salaried and don't let you have been there for at least a year or even 6 months. Like I don't look down on nobody that get laid off because I know the opportunities that just came with this layoff, and especially when you're experienced, the opportunities you're going to walk into with the layoff severance package. Like you don't have to give all any of that back if you get another job within a couple weeks. All that you keep, so maximize your benefits of your severance package. Strategies for leveraging your proven experience to find your next role. Boom. Don't look at it as, oh, I got laid off. Like I had to talk to a mentee. I'm gonna get to y'all's questions and comments in a second. Um, Mentee of mine, he got laid off from a big company. And just recently, and this is his first layoff, and he's young. He's in his 20s. Um, and but he had a cybersecurity role, and he got laid off. And he was going through it. I was like, "Did they give you a severance package?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Cool, all right." I said, "Do you have some money saved up? Like, have you been balling like Big Meech off your new salary, or have you been, practicing conservative financial habits?" He said, "I've been practicing conservative." And his biggest fear, he didn't want to have to go back and move back into his mama house. Yeah, that's where he was. That's where his head was at, and I understood that, But I talked to him because his mom reached out to me. I talked to him, gave him all the wisdom I poured into him, as well as send me your resume and stuff. I'm gonna see what I can do for you, X, Y, and Z, and told him how to look at the things like the opportunity, like look at this as as an opportunity, so that you can like look now you don't have to bust you don't have to bust your butt so much to get into your next role because you already had your first tech role and you have proven tech experience. Now you're on the career side of navigating your tech career because your first getting that first tech role is the hardest you're gonna ever work. The hardest because you don't know so much or so much, and you practically going out here putting your best will in. But now that you've been inside on this other side of the world, you know what it's actually like to be in those roles and how lax the environment can be for the most part. This type of skills that employers are really find valuable, directors and senior engineers really find valuable. Now you know how to leverage your resume up to get the next opportunity. Now you know what the next opportunity looks like for you. All right. Because you've been in the role for a couple months or even for a year, you can get your next role and kind of work your way up to where you can qualify for 2 to 3 year roles, experience requirements for your next role, which also means more money for you. So again, I talked to him and everything, and his mom reached back out to me a couple hours later and said that wow, now it's a night and day difference. And when she talks to him now, after me talking to him, because you gotta give them that real like the reality of what they're about to deal with, post layoff. Like it's not as bad. Everything up here that you're putting up here in your fear dome, the reality of all of that is not going to be nearly as bad as you think it's going to be. Not nearly. All right. So Cloud TJ, what more TJ isdoms do you got for us this evening? Let's see. 5 skills I gained outside the cloud industry. Communication. Yeah. Yeah. Communication, key. Presentation skills, key. Leadership skills, skills. Interviewing skills, key. All right, sales skills. Yes. Your career, you have to sell. Your resume is you selling yourself. Interviewing is selling yourself. Performing on a job is selling yourself. Um, Getting a raise and promotion on your job is selling yourself. Going to the next career opportunity is selling yourself. Sharing your experience online is selling yourself. You're in sales, whether you acknowledge it or not. Even as a tech engineer, you're in sales. All right, everything you're doing is to sell. You're trying to sell how good something is, how great you are at doing it, and how good you could be at doing it elsewhere. All right, sales, communicate. Like those are all. That's why having a job. That's why I really love working with people who are transitioning into tech, especially seasoned professionals who've been in a job for like probably 6 or more years, and they're looking to transition to tech because they have a lot of those interpersonal skills that are going to matter when it comes to this cloud work. They've developed the maturity of to be patient. They developed the communication skills to speak clearly, to enunciate their words, to know when to code switch, to have developed the understanding that you got to sell yourself. Like it's so many of those maturity career metrics that aren't on a job board. requirement that are very highly most important in landing the actual job, your next job. So great TJ Izzo. TJ, where you checking in? I said, where you calling from? Like this is a radio show. Where you checking in from? And TJ, you didn't even did TJ tell us what he drinking before he told us what he thinking? Nope. TJ, you gotta tell us what you drinking, man. Where you checking in from? You dropping these isms, baby. All right, Dalton, what's happening, baby? Baby, Texas, baby. Do IM roles require Splunk experience? No, no, not for the most part. Usually you'll find a lot of Splunk requirements out of more so the cloud security realm, because they do a lot of exploring the cloud security. They do a lot of exploring the Splunk logs or configuring Splunk logs for Splunk metrics, for metrics of the how servers are performing, or attacks that servers are getting, or to troubleshoot servers. So some cloud engineer roles, well, so I would say more so cloud infrastructure roles, engineer roles, cloud infrastructure engineer roles, or maybe even some administrator roles may ask for Splunk. But IAM, no, even though IAM is security, without a doubt. In most cases, they're not asking for a Splunk experience. If they do, I don't know what kind of weird thing they have going on, but when it comes to identities, authorizations, access, like that has nothing to really do with what Splunk does, even though you have to allow create access points for Splunk to be able to uh, uh, read the various ports of the servers that it's connected to. But I mean, you might have to help configure a Splunk profile, user profile, but not really. No, IAM is you need to learn about IDPs. You need to learn about uh what's that one of that's most popular, what's the one that OK Okta. You need to learn about Azure Intra. You need to learn about AWS IAM. Again, that depends on which platform you're on, but in general, IDPs. So look at search popular IDPs. Those top threes, you need to know how to configure those, and they're pretty, to be honest with you, they're not complicated. They're not complicated, but IAM roles are pretty popular. So, and they are vital roles because they determine who has access to what, when, and where. So, yeah. Hopefully, I answered your question, Dalton. But and plus, if you got time to learn Splunk. You know, there's a lot of trainings out there on Splunk just to become one. Again, you don't have to become a SME at these things. Even when we did our we did our tech hero Melissa, not Melissa, Mercedes, who's a Splunk engineer. She's not a Splunk SME per se, by the industry standards, but she was a Splunk SME for the company she worked at because nobody knew about Splunk, and she had just did a project or two. That's on her own, prior to even getting the role. So you don't have to know everything. Just go read. Like right now, I'm studying some Red Rail 8 upgrades. Because my company we do a lot of upgrades, Rail 8 upgrades. I don't have to be a SME at it, but I need to help. This training has definitely helped me understand it. The migrations that we're doing and upgrades that we're doing, and it's only 2 hours. So like if it's there, like it's if it's there for you to study and learn, go pick, and you got the time for it, go pick it up and learn it. You're gonna spend time on YouTube or anywhere else just wasting time, unless you're on my channel, but wasting time anyway. So like dedicate an hour, 2 hours to some training to upskill you, like that you can add to your resume as soon as you're done with it. Why not? And especially do a project related to what you learn, so you know how to actually implement the training that you experience. How do you negotiate your severance package as you grow in your career? All right, Jazz. Did Jazz tell us? I think Jazz said she's drinking water. She said she watching. She keeping her figure sharp. Oh, Jazz, you didn't even tell us what you. Oh, you sipping water. You at work? Okay, cool. Yeah, you're trying to keep your figure sharp. That's cool. Um, So I'm probably not the best. I'm gonna have an tech HR. That's one thing I need. I need to get a tech HR person on here, not a recruiter, but an HR person on here. That's what I'm gonna get on here. One of these this year. That's one of my goals. So y'all hold me to that. I'm not the best person to ask for that because I never really negotiated my severance package. I've always just been like, okay, okay, okay. I want to hurry up and get off the call so I can go about my day. And I've kind of accepted that as is. But there's ways I'm sure you can negotiate your severance package. But in most cases, they kind of tell you, from my experience, they tell you what it is you have. And if they do ask you during the call if you want to combat anything, if there's anything that you disagree with or how you were treated or whatever, you can, the HR person is there to record everything and answer all your questions. So even if you feel that the amount that you're getting back isn't doesn't won't suffice, like I know for sure the second time I got laid off, I could have negotiated a better severance package. But I had so much going on at that time. Like I was in the midst of buying a home. Um, I was just a lot going on, so I didn't even have the mental capacity to really care that. And I knew it wouldn't get. I had dealt with that. It was so much going on with that job. Ugh, that was probably one of the worst tech jobs I had. Most pleasant people I've dealt with, to be honest with you. The company organization of workers there were pleasant, but the job itself was always alternating. And so anyway, so I definitely could have negotiated a better severance package, but I didn't want to wait. I wanted the money. Just send me the money. Hurry up, send me the money. Send me the money. And I didn't want to do all that negotiating, but you can negotiate. Don't do like me in that area. Find a HR person to tell you how to negotiate. I'm sure there's YouTube videos how to negotiate your severance package. So, oh, okay, D Town. Okay, bro. Okay, you ain't tell us what you drinking though. You ain't telling. Hey, man, we got a lot of Texas in the building, man. How y'all find me, man? I love Texas, man. I like Dallas. I've been to Dallas twice, baby. A big blue sky, man. Dallas freaked me out the first time I flew out there. That was my first time in my life I experienced a city, and I mean it's in the state, but a city where the sky is so big. I felt kind of like my balance was off. I felt like this was weird because wasn't a lot of. I'm from the deep south, the southeast, and so we've got a lot of trees and forests and stuff. And so it was just it's not it was flat land in Dallas. At least the part I was in downtown, it's just flat and it got buildings here and there, but they're not like tall skyscraper crazy architecture everywhere. Like it's not a lot of trees everywhere, especially along the highway roads. There's lots of big grass, lands of grass, and the sky. That's it. It's the sky and grass, and some buildings. And it just felt like I was in a dome. It was just like it was freaky, but it was so freaking beautiful, man. Big, pretty blue sky in Dallas. Anyway, all right. Where did I find? Where can I find labs on GitHub to showcase Azure IM or whatever additional skills? What else? Fish, Fascia, Miss Bradford. How you doing, madam? How you doing? Now I know it's Ramadan is coming up next week. I can tell you Muslim because you got the wrap on your garment on, and I know Ramadan is coming up next month. So I need you to drink. All right, before we get there, I don't want you to drink. If you don't drink, I don't want you to drink. But to answer your question, GitHub. Okay, GitHub has released these certifications. I think a lot of them. I think some of them are even free, if I remember. But Andrew Brown, shout out to Andrew, Canadian brother. He has a lot of really good GitHub trainings. I looked at one today actually, and I think most of his stuff he does them with Exam Pro, and I think most of his are practically free or it's really cheap, like $5 or something like that. Like Andrew Brown tries to make a lot of his training affordable. He has really good training, really good training. I almost passed my CKNA just using his Exam Pro training. I got to retest again. I wanted to retest by before my birthday next week. So, but yeah, Andrew Brown. Check him out. But yeah, get Azure IM. So here's the thing. Can you do it with Azure IM skills? Can you create projects or do work related publishing changes to a GitHub repository for Azure IM? Yes, you can do that by creating an infrastructure as code environment, IAC environment, and making changes to subscriptions via that repository. But you would have to build. And then it's all coming to a close about what I'm about to say, but you would have to build a Azure environment, a IAC Azure environment using the ARM templates, and and that just make changes to various changes to your IM roles, and then you publish those changes to GitHub, which you can connect to. I forgot what Azure has a build, a CICD build as repo as well, but you connect it to GitHub, and from GitHub you push it out to, from my experience, to Jenkins pipeline, and that you can connect to your Azure, and then boom, it'll publish your templates on Azure. But that's a long way and a lot. Um, I say that to say, um, IAM and GitHub don't really mesh. Well, they mesh. Let me say they do mesh. I'll say that because when we I'm gonna just say it short. Create an infrastructure as code environment, Azure environment, infrastructure as code, and you're only using it to make changes. Create a server, a basic free server, create a couple users, all in the IAC environment, and determine who has access to what permissions to a server, and test those permissions, and document all this. Put it in a public forum such as Medium, blog, or even your GitHub repository is fine. Making that public, posting it to your LinkedIn, and boom, and then add it into your project. Boom, you got GitHub experience with Azure IAM. Only thing about it is you're not going to do a lot of infrastructure as code with Azure as an IAM, Azure IAM engineer. Um, from my experience, I think they're gonna have you do most of your work in the console because it's just overkill to have just IAM set up, just have IAC set up uh just for IAM. But usually IAM and a lot and depending on how technically mature the company is, um, they usually, unless they have an IAC environment, they won't have you Azure working out of an IAC. Like I do a lot of IAM configurations for Azure, and we use the console. We go straight through the console. So that's what I actually built a lot of experience by just going through the console, because it's so much about the subscriptions, about editing the properties of an IAM role, etc., adding it to various groups and roles, that you can learn and pick up on and add skills to your resume, as your so master Azure IAM in the console first before moving on to our infrastructure as code project, which will require you to interact with GitHub. So hopefully that makes sense, Ms. Bradford. Hopefully that helped you out. And if not, just shoot me a message and we could talk about it further. Info@bcloudengineers.com, and we could talk about it one-on-one, and try to fine tune 3 specific IAM Azure GitHub projects for you to work on and add to your resume. So hopefully that helps you. What's the best way? BMF. They think I'm big and meaty, huh? Larry Hoover. All right, I'm gonna get off at 8. We got a couple more minutes. What's the best way to learn CICD? Um, Building the IAC environment, infrastructure as code. Um, um, Building the environment, hosting the state files in the cloud platform you're working on, whether it be Google, whether that be AWS, whether that be Azure. But most importantly, pushing those changes through GitHub, which will also force you to have to learn some I prefer Jenkins, but you don't have to do Jenkins pipeline. I think I know Google has Google Build, um, and I think a Google Build allows itself to be connected to a GitHub repo. You have to check in and double check that, but Google, all these cloud platforms at this point has their own repo, to kind of circumvent using GitHub. But CICD, you can actually, yeah, because you didn't ask about GitHub, you can bypass GitHub. Yeah, I will find just a cloud platform like AWS has a repo that they use, a repo build. I know Google Cloud has this called Google Build, and then Azure has one. I don't know Azure's off the top of my head, but just build an IC environment that connects to that cloud platform and from your local machine, and then boom, uh, um, use Terraform, download Terraform, of course, as your automation tool, and then boom, you can push your changes to and from your local machine to um, your cloud platform, and boom, you're building continuous integration, continuous development skills right then and there. It's not overly complicated. Now, can get complex and complicated, especially when you start developing, building more pipelines. But for the most part, for what you're trying to do, and for most roles that they're going to have you in, anyway, entry level to junior roles to even 2 to 3 year level engineer roles, they're not gonna have you do anything funky or crazy. So create a CICD pipeline by just connecting your local machine to the cloud to a cloud environment repo that they have, and boom, start publishing those changes. So hopefully that answers your question, BML. Started at help desk making 45. TJ with the ism again. Um, from system admin 55, cloud support 65 now. Beautiful, brother. Look at that progress. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. My first help desk role, I didn't even make 45 a year. I think I was probably making 36 a year. And then my first cloud support role, I wasn't even making a 60. I know they brought me in at 65. No, they brought me in at 65. But, and I'm sure you got overtime because I got overtime when I was a cloud support engineer. And then boom, yep, your cloud engineer role. That's when you hit that six-figure mark. That's actually a really good way to do it. I know a lot of people that come to me, they say, "Oh, I don't want to take a pay cut," especially if they're seasoned professional in their field already, and they want to kind of transition over and have a similar a salary. There, at least they at the minimum they said they'll usually take the same that they're making now, but they don't want to go any lower. But it's like, you trying to hustle and get, I mean, you can, but you're gonna have to put in some work. With these projects, you have to hustle your resume around and hustle through these interviews. You can do it, but it's gonna take some confidence too. A lot of confidence, mostly confidence. Well, most people don't have that confidence, so they need to start at getting some type of support role, tech support role that would then lead them to a cloud support engineer role. You don't have to be in the support role for years. One of my students we work with, she started in my mentees. She started in a lingerie store in South Carolina last year, literally January, February this year. Last year was in a lingerie store, small South Carolina. Shout out to my girl. And boom, we worked with her, got a resume right and everything, got her training up, and she got into her first help desk role for the feds. It wasn't a lot of money. It wasn't a lot of money at all. But it was more. One, it was more that she was making at the lingerie store, and it was her first tech role. And then boom, after like probably not even 6 months after that, she landed her first federal contract role. As a mobile engineer with the feds, and with the actually with the Pentagon. Um, and then now she's working on her next role. So like it can again, you got to treat this career like a strategy, but all this comes from experience or talking to somebody who's done it before who can help you navigate your own. So, but yeah, you don't have to go to help desk route. You don't have to, but um, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. Even if you do the help desk job, that's the thing about support roles and help desk. You can do those jobs like on call or over or at night or during the like they're like usually 24-hour shops. So you can kind of pick a time slot to work within one um until you get your tech chops up enough to be able to really transition into a cloud role. So just to get that that experience on your resume and get the inside of how tech works on as far as your experience, seeing how things work on the inside of the industry. So but yeah, good testimony, TJ. We really appreciate that, brother. Salute, brother. Hey, Toronto, eh? I learned this how I learned how Canadian people talk. They talk like, "Oh, I was going to the store today." No, they say, "I was going to the store today," and I was trying to curious of why you going to the store today because it doesn't make you go to the store. Like they talk in a rhythm of it's almost like they're going to ask you a question, but they're not. But their voices is just getting to the top, and so it's like it's like you're waiting for them to ask the question, but they're not. They're making a statement that just they talk like this. So shout out to my Toronto folks, man. Shout out to the six, baby. Grapefruit juice. All right, we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. My brother, happy belated birthday again. Kofa. Happy birthday, baby. Here, Dr. Pepper in hand. Everybody watching calories tonight. Everybody trying to stay sober tonight. I get it's Thursday. I didn't even go to the bar tonight. I was gonna go. My wife convinced me to go tomorrow, so I'm gonna go tomorrow. Sipping a protein shake fresh from the gym. Okay, baby. That's what I like to hear, baby. Yeah, that's the energy we on, baby. Yeah, fitting it, baby. Fitting it. It meaning IT. All right. Okay, Miss Bradford, drinking water. Okay, we're gonna go with that. That's fine. Appreciate you for stopping by. Hopefully I helped you out. If you need more help, we're here. All right, all right. I'm gonna answer two more questions and I'm gonna get off here. 225, girl. You got on first? Okay, yeah. You said from Alabama and Sunkist Zero. Man, I love Sunkist. So if I can find some Sunkist Zeros, I'll be really happy, man. All right, Alabama. I've been out of school for 2 years and I'm trying to find my niche. Okay. I started AWS Skill Builder to build confidence, to take a certification. Any tips on what to look for doing Skill Builder? Uh, Build your confidence. That's great. I'm so glad you admitted that. Most people don't admit that. And most people, I would be like, to be honest with you, 99% of people who are trying to get in transition into tech, and trying to even elevate from their first role in cloud tech, the number one reason they don't do things is because they have a lack of confidence. If 99% of these people had confidence, everything would be possible for them. But they don't do most of the things they need to do when they need to do them, especially because they lack confidence. Literally, I was gonna make a whole post about that, and I am eventually, sometime this year. But I wanted to be a big point. But I'm gonna probably make a blog out of it. But confidence is like number one key. So I'm glad you admitted to that, and that's true. That's the only way you build tech skills. Confident. The only way you build your confidence in your skills is by doing the tech work. That's it. And that doesn't mean just the tech, uh, the computing skills. That means tech work of your resume, interviewing, um, doing projects, actually scheduling the exam and doing the exam, pass or fail. Like you got that stuff builds confidence the more and more you do it, especially when stuff works. All right, so AW skill builder, my thoughts. So the thing with skill builders is this, and this is with any platform, not just AWS. Udemy has skill labs. Uh, um, uh, I think GitHub has some labs, training labs as well. But um, Corsa has some labs. Think about these skill builder things. Google has skill builder. Google skill builder is a beast. Like them things can get difficult, but they're so you learn a lot from skill builder. Think about skill builders. Skill builders are great. If you're doing skill builders just to build confidence and build technical chops to add stuff to your resume, do it. Do it. It's feasible. It's you could do them in your bed from your phone. Do it. The only thing about it is you have to graduate from doing skill builders and labs to doing projects. The difference between the two, and I have a video. I think I have a video where I talked about it on my channel once. Probably, yeah, I think I did. I think we did a whole talk about it one time. But the difference, one of these tech at nights. Um, so the difference between these skill builders and labs and actual project is the labs and the skill builders have a curated environment for you already created. So you're actually going in and you're learning the resources, the resources interact with functions that you want to make them, whatever you want to make them do, right? They give you commands and everything is already preset for you. With projects, you got to create everything from scratch, even if you're following a project that was created online, even if you're following advice of somebody, even if you're piecing the whole thing together by yourself from scratch, which builds a different skill base and a different level of confidence out of you because you learn so much about the tech stack that you don't pick up in the skill builder. Like for instance, in order uh, to spin up a GCP machine, you have to do G Cloud, compose such and such machine. Like you got to authenticate your tokens, and then you got to, you can do a G Cloud compose such and such machine with your specs on it. That the skill builder would tell you to put in the command line of G Cloud, and then boom, spins up the server for you. Great. You learned a few commands. You learned where to navigate to for your VMs. You learned how to authenticate your IAM, etc. Great. So you learned like picked up like four different skills just off that. When you create the project itself, you got to create the IAM role. You have to you have to um, piece together the script. So you have to find what Linux commands create a what Linux commands create a Google Cloud script for creating a VM virtual machine. You have to learn the VM types because you have to know what type of virtual machine. You have to learn about CPU. You have to learn about CPU vCPUs. You have to learn about storage because you got to piece all that together as you're creating the script. All right. And then you have to put those things in there, hope they work. And when your errors out, when it doesn't work, you have to read through the errors and debug. You gain another skill, how to debug technical errors in the command line. Like you're building so many intangible skills by creating projects on your own. Even if you're using a project, if you're trying to duplicate a project that was already created, which is more than fine, which is very common, but they're not as easy to do as they are as skill builder because the whole environment is already set up for you. All right. So if that makes sense, hopefully that helped you out, 225 girl. If not, reach out to me. What up, adorable? I'm answering one more question and then I'm getting out of here, y'all. Because I gotta so let me ping my student right now, let them know. Probably on here. Let me see. All right. So adorable said, adorable one. From the hey, baby. Green smoothie. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I expect nothing less, of course. Day 8 of 10. Okay. Okay. You on track. You on track. Consistency. Consistency. Otherwise, it'd be on the market. The cigar. Okay, you do the cigar. Sister of the leaf. Sister of the leaf. Let's go. Okay, I'm trying to break into tech. I'm gonna move on my other banner up while I answer this question. Hold on. Mm, oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, my bad, y'all. Let me go back to Adorable. All right. I'm trying to break into tech with an AWS Solutions Arc Associate certification. Congratulations. Woo! Congratulations, baby. That's hard. Okay. When you struggle doing projects, can I maybe list labs that I do as project? Absolutely. What? You better. It's experience on your resume. Work experience. It doesn't say employer or employed work experience. It says work experience or job experience or even project experience as your title on your resume. You can even have a separate section where it says project experience and work experience. Like yes, you absolutely can. And where would you put it under? You can put it under the company that if I were you, I would put it on. If you're working currently at a company, I will put it under the company that I'm currently working at. Why? Because while you're working with this company, this is what you did as a project. Ding! You know what I'm saying? Ding, there you go. And they're going to ask, okay, what did they have you do? Well, while I was there, there's a project that I was working on. So I had to I had to create a web app in AWS. All right. And so I told my boss I was going to do it. And he okay for me to work on it offline or after hours or what have you. So I started building it, and there you go. They care is they care more about what you did and how you did it versus who you did it for. You know, they're not, first off, in most cases, they just want to, your ATS, like you're going to help your ATS system. Or they use the ATS system to read, but you're going to help your ATS metrics out by increasing your resume in the pool of resumes and getting you qualified for more positions, cloud tech roles. And they just want to see the stuff that you did because that, once you get past the recruiter, and I think I did a video on this, but I'm not gonna do a whole tech night on this. I'm gonna do an actual video on this on how to navigate past all rounds of your cloud tech recruit tech interviewing process. Um, because it's like four. There's usually between three to four. Three to four. They try to some of them try to narrow it down to two or three, but it's usually three to four. Especially if it's for a salary role. Anyway, yeah, the hardest part is getting past the tech recruiter, to be honest. And the hardest part in getting past tech recruiters because they don't know any of this tech stuff. So they just look at it as ones and zeros. They want to know how many years you got. They want to know if your resume complies with the softwares that like they try to look for it to a T in most cases, especially if they're not really involved with the actual company like that. If the company is just a client, they're not an internal recruiter. um their external recruiter, they're trying to match it in there, especially if they're foreign. They're trying to match it to a T. And they've never touched or done this stuff in their life, so they don't know that a bulk of these uh, technical experiences means that mm, it culminates to having like deep knowledge of doing this one technical software skill or one top technical awareness. Like they'd be like, they'll say something like, "Oh, well, do you know infrastructure as code?" I say, "Yes." They say, "Okay, well, do you know uh uh um JSON?" I'm like, if a person knows infrastructure as code, there's only two ways that you can push code out to the cloud: AWS cloud, Google cloud, Azure cloud, in the infrastructure as code environment. That's either YAML or JSON. So yes, like, but again, they don't know, so they're just asking off the piece of paper. So the hard part is getting past them. So, but once you get past them, you start talking to people who actually do the work. There's the hiring manager, the senior engineers, et cetera, who are close to the work at least, who know what the hiring team is actually looking for, and can give you better insight on what the actual role is required, and give you more grace in not having all of the things and not even most of the things listed on the job board. They're going to give you grace because they're like, oh, and just enough to do the job, or more than enough to do the job. So, and they can train you up on. They're going to train you up on the rest, regardless. Regardless, you're going to get training. You have to get training as part of the onboarding, unless you come in as a contractor and it's a contract role with like only 3 months, and they're looking for somebody like a SME senior. But most of y'all will never have to worry about that because you're not seniors. So, like, yeah, it's like that's how I would do it. Hopefully that answered your question, Adorable. Add. I don't care if you do skill builders. I don't care if you do labs. I don't care if you do projects. Every piece of tech that you touch where you're training yourself to learn something, add that to your resume. It needs to go on your when you build something and created something, add that to your resume. It counts, okay? Because it's work experience. Because when you're in the actual job and you get a request that comes through for a client, for a customer, whether it be internal, external, you have to go through the same metrics of being able to perform on that ticket. They might ask you to create an IAM role or give a certain person permission. And it's as simple as boom, boom, boom. So you mean to tell me when you're doing it in a lab or a project environment and you create IAM permissions, you're not going to add that same thing you would do on a job to an actual resume? Damn. Hopefully that answer your question, though. All right, y'all. I'm gonna read a few more, then I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna see y'all next Wednesday. Is today Thursday? Today Thursday, ain't it? Damn. I'm gonna see y'all next Wednesday because boot camp is my last week of interviews. I ain't got no more students to interview. We do exit interviews at the end of boot camp. Um, and I'm gonna be free for the next few weeks, so that means y'all gonna have more of me. All right. Congratulations. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there, MB. MB, you got to tell us how you did that. What did you use to pass? Like, tell us in the comments, even when the video end on YouTube, tell us in the comments, what did you use to pass your Azure 900? Why did you take your Azure 900? And what industry you coming from? Coming from DC, man. Oh, I know y'all cold. I know you cold. All right, adorable is a journey to sacrifice again. Yeah, warehouse. Man, see, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Man, they don't know nothing about working in that warehouse, man. Gotta be at the where I had to be at the warehouse. I had a warehouse job one time. I was a um uh I had to install installation. That's what the company was for. And we worked in a warehouse facility. And we would always deploy will depart from the warehouse facility to go work on the actual construction properties. But we worked in it, but you also had the job of working in the warehouse. So you had to stack inventory and stuff like that too. You still had to be there at 5 in the morning. Can't be there no later than 5:15. Then leave the warehouse till 3 o'clock, 3:30. If it was a good day, maybe 3 o'clock. Warehouse, baby. Woo hoo. Man, I used to get paid what? Anywhere between it started at $75 a day and it went all the way down to like, and then sometimes it went as high as 125 a day, and it went all the way down to like 50, $25 a day. Ooh, I remember them days, baby. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, okay, appreciate it, Adorable. I'm gonna answer one more, then I'm getting out of here. Let me see. Should I do Cash or Justin? Justin always here. Cash, you're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to get yours. Um, or Cash, send me a message. Thoughts on Code Academy introductions. Ah. Now, as much as I have respect for Code Academy, I really do. Code Academy does a great job at teaching dev skills. No, I wouldn't do an introduction to IT for beginners. No. If you want a help desk job, go get a. I wouldn't even say get an A+ certification, but go get a CCNA certification or CISSP certification, but get the CCNA. It's more doable. Go get a CCNA and then go get a help desk job. Study for your CCNA certification and then go. You don't even have to do any projects really for to get a help desk job with a CCNA because they're gonna see that CCNA on their resume and be like, oh, okay, he's qualified. We can train him on everything else. Um, but yeah, IT for beginners is they probably have some type of um, introduction to tech PC hardware, introduction to networking. It's like a lot of introductory classes, and it's probably some introductory to cloud, which I don't know why they do that, but it's not worth it at the end of the day. No, you can do much. Learn some. If you got Code Academy free, or you already paid for the membership, you have better time served studying for the CCNA training course they may have. If they don't have that, they have a lot of dev training courses. So make time to try to learn Python. Make time to try to learn Python for beginners, or try to learn a Go language, or make time to try to learn Ruby, or make time to try to learn. What's another one? Endpoints. Or even let me throw one more in there. Make time to try to learn. They might not have TypeScript. JSON, if they have JSON. Um, um, but yeah, that's just about it that I would get out of Code Academy. Um, but any course, anything that offers introduction to IT, no, not worth the time. Not worth the time. Not worth the time. No, and nobody's checking for it. Most importantly, so no. All right, y'all. I'm getting out of here. Y'all have a good night. Um, oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Cheers to you and your smoothie, girl. Come on, come on, come on. We here. All right, Cass. I'm gonna ask you a question, Cass. Before I get out, I'm gonna be a little fair. All right, got my Sec Plus. Even though Cass, you didn't tell us where you from, you didn't tell us what you drinking, but we're gonna go with it. Um, you got my Sec Plus AWS Solution Architect. Congrats! In the past week, completed 5 projects, including Terraform project. Boom! That one time out. How can I help myself more to get this role? Now, stop everything you're doing. You got your Security Plus cert. Great. You got your Solutions Architect. Great. You got 5 projects on your resume. Have you been listening to me? I'm just curious because that's my formula. Great. If you now all you need to do is update your resume, meaning you need to have an engineer, a cloud engineer, somebody in the industry, look at your resume to make sure that it looks up to standard, or get it professionally done by somebody who does resumes. For all our cloud tech resumes, we ship ours to Tiffany. Tiffany Hall does ours. Tiffany Hall on LinkedIn. Um, so get your resume professionally updated. Get your LinkedIn professionally updated. All right, you need to have a profile picture. You don't have a profile picture right now on your YouTube, but you need to have one on your LinkedIn. All right. And you need to have your LinkedIn title right. All right. Have a little summary there. Have your certs listed in your profile. And then boom, the only thing you need to be doing for the next 3 months is applying for cloud tech roles. You can even filter by Security Plus, and it'll show you all the roles on various job boards that require the Security Plus cert. You'll be surprised how many jobs you can nearly walk into just by having the Security Plus cert. Um, Now, that doesn't mean you're gonna be doing any high-end cool cybersecurity. You got 85 monitors all around me in a dark room. No, they're probably gonna have you deguzzling hard drives. Okay, what? You're in tech, baby. And then from there, you can just boost yourself up very fast because you have your architect cert. And keep working, keep applying for cloud roles, and somebody gonna give you a shot. But your next 3 months need to be strictly locked in Savannah. Okay, 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 okay. You from the red clay, so I mess with that. You need to be strictly applying for cloud tech roles, various cloud tech roles between what is security plus cloud security roles, cloud TAM, technical account managers. I wouldn't don't go after the architect roles, even though you are that is your certification, but that's a senior level role. They at least want 3 years of experience before they hire somebody in as an architect. But cloud engineer roles, you will qualify for a plethora of those. Um, Even Azure cloud roles, you could qualify for. Um, but yeah, cloud engineer roles, cloud analyst roles, cloud security roles, cloud TAMs. Those are the roles that I would go after if I was you. Even security engineer roles as well. Go after those roles as well. And that's the only thing you need to be doing for 3 months. Don't be trying to add more projects to your resume. Don't try to add more certifications. Stop getting. I just had this long talk with my students. Stop getting paperwork happy. You got all the paperwork you need. Now it's time to go make that paperwork dance for you. Okay, make that paperwork work. Okay, next 3 months, all you need to be doing is applying for roles and interviewing until somebody gives you a yes. And when they give you that yes, I want you to come back here. I want you to ask me for my address so you can send me some cigars. And I want you to toast to me on camera. All right. All right, y'all. I'm out of here, man. Y'all be great members. Subscribe to the channel if you got any questions. Uh, if you're curious about cloud tech, want to learn more about cloud tech, go to our website, becloudengineers.com. Also, if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that's trying to get into the industry, shoot them my way. Share this video with them. And we're looking to do training, engineer training with organizations. So if you have an organization that you want to scale up with cloud engineering skills, reach out to us as well, becloudengineers.com. I'm going to see y'all again. We're going to do this again next Wednesday, probably the same time. And yeah, have a great night. Remember, you had what it took the entire time. All right, yeah, we up.